Hare Krishna. Pranam to all devotees here. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadandikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome to all the devotees here. We are on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text number 2, Sanjaya Uvacha. So I will first read the words, its translation, and then we can discuss the purport line by line. दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकं व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसङ्गम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्. Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Before beginning the purport, I would like to give some background of the scene. Many of us already know some of the characters, but in case someone is not fully aware of those characters, uh, I will just briefly explain about them. We have Sanjay here. Sanjay is a disciple of Sri Vyasadeva, and he's a son of uh, Gavalgana. His father's name is Gavalgana, and by caste, he is a Suta. Uh, I will to use some technical words to express what Suta means. Suta is a person who is born of Kshatriya father and a Brahmana mother. So traditionally, such kind of marriages are discouraged. They are called pratilomas. Pratilomas means not favorable. There are other marriages which are called anulomas. Anulomas means uh, Purusha or man of higher order and wife of lower order. Where this four Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So father must be from the higher Varna. Uh, Mother can be from the lower Varna. Of course, there are some limitations also. So according to Dharma Shastras, only Anuloma marriages are allowed or encouraged. Pratiloma marriages are not allowed or at best discouraged. But still, uh, even though we may have restrictions, but we can't just stop people having connections with Varna, other Varna ladies, or that's something not possible. Uh, though we may have a pious king, but still uh, there are uh, chances that such pratiloma marriages can also happen. So, in case of such marriages, such uh, children born of pratiloma marriages, they are given a particular caste, particular status in the society. They are given particular role to play in the society. So Suta is among this Pratiloma caste. So and their role is One is like charioteer. They can be a charioteer of kings, and another role is that of advisor or narrating Puranas, particularly Puranas, Itihas Puranas, not Vedas. They don't have adhikara on Vedas. They are not allowed to study the Veda part of knowledge. They can get knowledge and share that knowledge through Itihas and Puranas. So there could be so many questions why we have such a stringent system. Somebody is allowed for particular things, somebody is not allowed for particular things. That is because of particular purity required to undergo particular training. It's not an injustice to anyone, but to learn something, we must have some eligibility. Now, when we talk about eligibility, we always tend to think in terms of something physical eligibility or something intellectual eligibility. But what we understand as eligibility is not the eligibility what sages understand. So, in a broader sense, eligibility also includes spiritual eligibility, uh, purity of mind, purity of consciousness, purity of deeds, how we function in the society, purity of our behavior, and also birth, uh, and along with the birth, the whole surroundings. So there are many factors to consider before assigning any varna to anyone. Nowadays, it has become very difficult to assign varna, but in a traditional society where people would use dharma in their daily life, and they would stick to dharma. They would perform all Vedic sanskaras. So, uh, generally, a Brahman is born in a Brahman family, Kshatriya is born in a Kshatriya family. Similarly, a Vaishya is born in a Vaishya family, and Shudras are born in Shudra family. And those who are mixed caste, they are also of the same nature. Because the king would ensure that there should not be violation of the dharma shastras. So dharma shastras like Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, and there are others. So they give codes of conduct for all varnas, all major varnas, all mixed varnas, so that there will be a discipline in the society. Because to perform any act we need certain qualification, we are not talking about just physical or mental or intellectual qualification. We are talking about spiritual qualification that also includes the qualification in terms of deeds, consciousness, surroundings, everything. So this particular car mixed caste called Suta, which is born of a Pratiloma marriages. They are given this particular task of driving chariots or becoming advisors to kings or narrating Itihas and Puranas. So Sanjaya, because of his background, he has been given this task of advising King Dhritarashtra in his uh, in his kingdom. So, uh, because of this particular role, he is always accompanying Dhritarashtra. Also, he is a charioteer of King Dhritarashtra. So, in both way, he has to be with King Dhritarashtra. So, this is about Sanjaya. The next one is about Duryodhana. Everybody pretty much knows something about Duryodhana, but some of us might not know that Duryodhana is a ansha of Kali Yuga. So he's an incarnation of Kali Yuga, you can say. So there are description in the Shastras where it is mentioned that uh, Duryodhana uh, was supposed to appear here because he was Kali and he had to play a certain role for destruction of the demons. So Duryodhana was chosen, or we can say Kali was chosen for this particular task. So it's a uh, we can say it's a kind of drama arranged by the divine forces. But for our senses, it may look like something, some uh, current affairs, or what is going here, what is going there, what will happen. But actually, everything was destined. So that was Duryodhana. And regarding Dronacharya uh, was the guru or teacher of Kauravas and Pandavas. He was born of Bharadwaj Muni, sage Bharadwaja, and there is a story behind his birth. He was not of ordinary birth. The story goes like this: that his father, Bharadwaj Rishi, uh, he happens to see a apsara called Ghritachi near a river, and it so happens that he gets attracted to her, and just because of her his remembrance of Ghritachi, he ejaculates his seed, and because of that, Drona gets birth. That seeds were stored in a Drona or some pot, and because Drona was born from that pot, he was named Drona. In the beginning, he was living a very living a life of poverty, and but after some time, he gets this task of teaching to Kauravas and Pandavas. He has learned the art of military art of Dhanurveda from Lord Parshurama, and he is said to be of, I mean, immortal in one sense, that he cannot be killed by anyone. Only if he desires, he can die. So that was Dronacharya. So with this background, we can start today's verse. Okay, purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. He was called Pratnya Chakshu. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. So these are the comments not only from Srila Prabhupada but Baldev Vidya Bhushan and other acharyas. They also share the same thing, that Dhritarashtra was not only blind from material point of view, but he was also blind from the spiritual point of view. Why is it so? It is mentioned further. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. So he was quite sure that my sons would not make a sandhi with Pandavas, or would make a tie with the Pandavas, but still, eh, he was afraid that because they are going to fight in Kurukshetra, which is a Dharma Kshetra, So there is a distant possibility that my sons may get affected. So that was Dhritarashtra. Okay, continuing. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situations on the battlefield. So Sanjaya, because he was a disciple of Vyasadeva, and he's been given divine vision, so that he can see everything going on the Kurukshetra as if it was happening in front of his eyes. So he has that mystic power, similar to watching a television nowadays. But uh, Sanjay had some other powers as well. He could also see past, present, and future. So, because of the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva, he was given these mystic powers. And because of this reason, he could understand Dhritarashtra's mind as well. So that's why he responds to Dhritarashtra by this verse, Drishtvatu. Okay, continuing. Sanjay wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Why could he say so? Because he is a Trikala Drashta. He could see that his sons, I mean, Dhritarashtra's sons, are not of dharmic nature and they would not make any compromise. Sanjay therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander in chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. So, after analyzing Dhritarashtra's mind, Sanjay informed him that don't worry, your son Duryodhana is not going to make any compromise, but he's afraid, and he has approached his teacher Dronacharya, who is also one of the commander in chief. So when Bhishma was present, he was the commander in chief of all the army. But as we know that there are many commanders in the army, so Dronacharya was also given such position. So he was also one of the commanders. Okay. Continuing, although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. So Duryodhana has been addressed here as Raja. In the verse itself, there is a word Raja Vachanam Abravit. So Acharya has explained that why this particular word Raja has been used for Duryodhana. That is to show that he was quite expert in politics. The moment he sees the power of Pandava's army, he gets afraid and he wants to discuss with Dronacharya, his guru, that what to do with this such an army. And though he was sure of Bhishmadev, Dronacharya, Karna, but still, being an expert politician, he also had to calculate the enemy's strength and uh, decide safe strategy for his victory. So there is a verse in Shastra that upayam chintayet prajna apayam cha chintayet. So one should calculate both the sides, pros and cons as well. And who is able to do so, he is a intelligent person. So Duryodhana, though he was a crooked, but nonetheless he was a good politician, and he has been praised here because The moment he realizes the grave situations on Kurukshetra, he immediately consults his teacher Dronacharya. And there is another reason Acharya has mentioned why he personally goes to Dronacharya, because that is also a Maryada. Duryodhana, though he is king, but he is a disciple of Guru Dronacharya. So it's not befitting that he should call his guru to meet him. Rather, it is a culture that a disciple should personally go and meet his guru. So he is showing his Maryada here. So when we discuss about Mahabharata or some villains in Mahabharata, we should also keep in mind that they were demons. I mean, they were having demonic mentalities, but they still follow some culture. So asuras also follow some culture. The only difference between demons and uh, demigods or devas and asuras is that devas they worship Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, whereas demons, though they know that Vishnu is supreme and uh, he should be worshipped, but they try to disrespect him or try to avoid him by some way or other, by philosophically or by uh, just doing some show of yajna and many other things. But that purpose is not to achieve the supreme. Their purpose is to just show their supremacy. So Duryodhana here he approaches his spiritual master, Guru Dronacharya. But Duryodhana's diplomatic Vanir could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas. So though he tried his best to conceal his fear, but it was apparent that he could not just do that. And it's fair that to be afraid of something, because that's also a sign of intelligence. Otherwise, only foolish people they uh, don't get afraid when there is a place for fear. So there is a saying in English that fools rush in where angels fear. So Duryodhan he was foolish in one sense, but he was a good diplomat as well. So he's afraid of calculating the strength of the Pandavas, though he knows that he has many great warriors at his side, but still uh, he has to calculate his own strength, because one reason is that the battle was on the field of Dharmakshetra. It was a place of Dharma. So he was also afraid of his victory. Another thing is that uh, Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya, they always supported Pandava's side, because Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya both are very uh, pious by nature, and they uh, many times advised Duryodhana to give the half of the kingdom to Pandavas and be satisfied. So Duryodhana was also afraid that Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya, because they are naturally kind towards Pandavas, so they may favor them. So though Bhishma Dev has agreed to fight for me, Dronacharya has also agreed to fight for me. But this partiality may affect their active role in this battle. And that is why uh, he approaches Dronacharya, and indirectly, actually, he wants to uh, insult his teacher. That we will see in the next verse that. he indirectly, not directly, indirectly he chastises his spiritual master that what kind of foolishness you have done by teaching your enemies, because he taught the science of weapons to Drishtadyumna. And who was Drishtadyumna? Drishtadyumna was the commander in chief of Pandavas. And it was the same Drishtadyumna who was uh, who was who was born to kill Dronacharya. There is a long story we will hear tomorrow. So anyway, because of the these reasons, Duryodhana was worried about his victory. Okay, so we will stop here. If there is any question, query, or we can ask. Yes, Brihanta.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Now I have two questions. So the first question I would like to ask that if once a couple has married in a Pratiloma manner,
Hmm.
are the following descendants also called as Suta? Means after that, whoever come in as their descendants, are they all called Suta?
Yes, Suta is a particular caste, and once they are in that particular line, then they will be called Sutas. See, nowadays the situation is different. Nowadays, there are no proper sanskaras or proper system to ensure who is who. So, in the absence of such a system, where there are brahmanas or kshatriyas, they would ensure that people should not have such a Varna Sankaryam. Varna Sankaryam, or the mixture of different Varnas. Unnecessary, unwanted mixture. See, there could be mixture of Varnas, but unwanted mixture, that is Pratiloma mixture. So nowadays, because we don't have such system, and that is why the only way of identifying anyone's Varna is the karma. That's why in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita also there is a verse that Chaturvanyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasham. So the Supreme Lord Krishna has created this system of four Varnas and four ashramas: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. But everything is based on Guna and Karma. So the qualities and the work associated with those qualities. So if somebody is working as Brahmana, then he is a Brahmana. If somebody is showing the symptoms of a Kshatriya, then he will be qualified as Kshatriya. Similarly for Vaishya and Shudra. So only through karma we can identify who is who. Generally, if sanskaras are performed properly, then that's the natural scenario that a Brahman would be born in a Brahman family, a Kshatri would be born in a Kshatri family, and so on. But that is not the system nowadays. Okay. Any other thing?
So, more two questions appeared in my mind, Prabhu. So,
Okay.
if in the ancient times this would happen that the descendants of a Kshatriya family does not have the guna or karma of a Kshatriya, he is like a lower caste or a higher caste, he is like a Brahmana. So, is he called Brahmana in ancient times, or is he called Kshatriya only because he is born in that family?
No, in ancient times, because there was a system, so there was no question of identifying who is who. It is just a matter of birth. That's why sometimes this issue arises. Oh, you are talking about birth, caste. Yeah, you are so rigid. Just because somebody is born in some particular caste, do you think he can elevate? Do you think he is so degraded? Why are you classifying anyone in this way? So this whole issue arises because we don't have the system to ensure who is who. So because there were samskaras performed in ancient times, we can see that people were so much conscious of caste marriages. Caste marriages is not that it's just some unwanted urge, but they had to maintain proper Varna lineage in their family. That's why they were worried about the intercaste marriages. So there were genuine reasons for that. But nowadays, uh, people are anyway living like animals or less than animals. So there is no question of such a uh, intercaste marriage, and I mean, such issue does not arise at all. I mean, what does it really matter if all are animals? So if there is a society or people to ensure that proper sanskaras are performed and proper varna identity can be maintained, then it makes sense. But nowadays, it is not possible. So in the ancient times, there was no need because uh, that was a very practical way of imbibing the Varna theory in life, in the society. It's not that the moment child is born, then we have to speculate, oh, who this child will be, what will be his Varna. Let us figure it out. Maybe we can spend some 5 years and then see. So that was not the consideration in traditional society or ancient society. It is a concern of modern society where there is no dharma. Basically, when we speak about sanskaras, we are talking about dharma. Nowadays, people are hardly even know anything about dharma. So that's why then we have to calculate the karma, what is his real nature. Then we have to spend some time, we have to analyze that person, and after some observation, then we can come to some conclusion that this person is best suited for this task, seeing his qualities, his overall behavior, and everything. So that was not a challenge for the ancient society. That is a challenge for today's society. Okay.
And Prabhuji, why was it necessary for such marriages that Kshatriya marries a Shudra or a Vaishya? Why was it not, means why was it necessary? A Kshatriya can marry the Kshatriya only, right? Why should he marry the lower castes?
No. Why means, I mean, it's not that Kshatriya cannot marry uh, uh, woman from the lower varnas. That is not the uh, that is not the how the system is. The restriction is that this pratiloma marriages are discouraged. Anuloma marriages where a Purusha of higher Varna can marry uh, wife from the lower Varna. That is possible. That is called Anuloma. Because, see, when we start a discussion, that can be, that could, many technical terms that need to be discussed before entering such topics. And because dharma is very jatila, very complex. So it's not a matter of some few minutes, then we can even understand or I can explain all these things. But the bottom line is that uh, anuloma marriages are allowed. Allowed. I'm saying allowed. Pratiloma marriages are discouraged. Savarna marriages were the norm. So Savarna marriages means marriage in the same Varna. That was called Savarna marriages. Like Kshatriya Purusha and Kshatriya Stri. Brahmana Purusha, Brahmana Stri. But Anuloma marriages means Kshatriya Purusha, Vaishya Stri. or Brahmana Purusha, Kshatriya Stri. That is Anuloma. Pratiloma means just opposite. Kshatriya Purusha, Brahmana Stri, or Vaishya Purusha, Brahmana Stri. So there are other combinations also. So it's not discouraged. The
Now you have just told that this Pratiloma marriage is discouraged in the Vedic society, but we have seen many instances where Pratiloma marriage is done by an exalted personality like Jamadagni himself. Not Jamadagni. No, not
I
Jamadagni.
mean, there are
Another
cases
person.
anyway, even if you don't remember, but there are cases. But see, one thing
So
all called discourage.
I want to.
Discourage means does not mean that we can stop it altogether. Discourage means we don't encourage it because that disturb the society. But that does not mean that we can just make a full stop on it. For example, prostitution is always discouraged, right? Prostitution is always discouraged, or uh, gambling is always discouraged. But still there are people in the society who any will any will like do all these things. So discourage does not mean that we can restrict it completely. What to do when if such things happen, that is the next step. What we are addressing here now is that generally it is Pratiloma marriages are discouraged, but what to do when it so happens? We have to make some solution. We can't just hang them, right? Just because they did Pratiloma marriages, okay, hang them or just cut their throat. That is not a solution. So it is an offense in one sense, but we cannot just give that punishment. Death penalty is not the solution. That's the point I want to make. They can be engaged in
So
different ways. In the society, they will be given some inferior role. That is okay. Otherwise, if there is Anurom villages, then they would get a proper status, and their all the sanskaras will be maintained, and there is and that also shows the purity in that particular lineage, that they were conscious of dharma. Why there is pratiloma? Because there was some adharma happened in that family. So that also shows that their family needs to be uh, how to say, not actually degraded, but he should be engaged otherwise. That particular family should be engaged otherwise. They should not be given the same status as that of the people who are following dharma properly. So that is also kind of punishment, but not death penalty.
Prabhuji, I have a last question, Prabhu.
You have already asked
Um,
many questions.
For
Okay.
a child to be born, the semen should be mixed with ovum and should become spermatozoa. So why Drona was just born from the pot when just the semen was stored in it? So two things should mix, right, Prabhu? So one thing only semen was there. So how he
And
was born?
okay, okay. See, that's why these stories should also studied in the light of uh, other scriptural guidance. When we talk about sages or rishis, rishis are of higher category than human beings. So they are not just the same. They have tapobola and many other things. For example, uh, like Surya. Surya is also some being, right? Divine being. So can we compare uh, our strength with that of sun's strength? If a sun touches some impurity, he may not get burned. He may not get dirty. But if we touch that is some impurity, then definitely we will be affected by that. So there is a hierarchy in the creation. So when we talk about sages like Bharadwaj Muni or even Dronacharya, they are not just some ordinary human beings. They are rishis, and because of their strength, extraordinary powers. Otherwise, what is difference between a yogi, mystic yogi, and a ordinary person? A mystic yogi can do anything. He can disappear. He can, even if he sits in the fire, nothing will happen to him. So these are the mystic powers of yogis or great sages. So Bharadwaj Muni, he was a great sage. So he was not an ordinary human being like us. So there is a difference. So we are trying to compare our limitations with their top sages or demigods like Deva. They also have extraordinary powers. But uh, in nutshell, I can it should be suffice to mention that uh, the creation of God is uh, multifarious and it has many varieties. There are many things which we have not ever experienced. So we should be humble enough to accept the reality that we are on a very lower platform of the creation because there are many superior beings above, way above us, who have much higher powers than us. So that is the simple answer for this question. So for ordinary humans or animals, generally the things which you mentioned that some mixture of seeds from both the sides. So that's the natural process. But for higher beings, this may not be so. So that shows their extraordinary power. Like Lord Shiva, just by pulling his hair, he can create uh, some demon. Can you do that? Priyanka, I'm asking you.
No, Prabhu, I can't do that.
So that's the answer. Okay. So let's conclude here.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुश्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्री व्यासदेव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you for joining the call. Hare Krishna.